forces, buried for centuries. They believed their discoveries would assure Germany's ultimate victory. What they could never have imagined.
Origins, the final map of Black Ops 2 Zombies, August 2013, and for a lot of people, one of the best Zombies maps ever made. At the center of it was the staff system, 4 elemental weapons, ice, wind, fire, lightning, each one built from parts scattered across a World War I battlefield, each one with its own upgrade path and its own place in the meta. The most ambitious wonder weapon system Zombies had ever attempted. They defined the map, and they still do. For 12 years, Origins players have built runs around these weapons. They've learned them, loved them, and definitely hated some of them. But that's because only one works as intended. High round players know the rules. The wind staff can make zombies invisible, something gets dragged in, the animation plays, and all of a sudden it's gone. It's still hitting you, still moving, but you've learned to watch your HUD instead of looking for the zombies. It's just Origins. On high rounds, the ice staff also starts failing. The blizzard lands perfectly, every zombie in range plays the freeze animation, and then they're just there, still alive, but frozen. You adjust, you shoot them, you throw a grenade, you whip out a claymore, you've always adjusted. Big frozen rounds. It's just Origins. And then there's the fire staff. It works in the mid game, early game great, but somewhere past round 70, it just starts to crash your game. You don't really know why, but it does. It's just Origins. And then there's the crash, you know the one, the animation error, 26, 27 hours, it's the max on Origins. Everyone knows it. It's because of a leaky animation. We're not getting into that in this video, but we will in the next one, so stay tuned. It's just Origins. It's not just Origins. None of these are just Origins. Every single one has a name, a file, a line number, a specific piece of code that's causing the bug. The ghost zombie, the frozen rounds, the fire staff ceiling, the animation crash, they're bugs, specific to Origin, readable, completely fixable bugs that were compiled into the game script code and shipped on August 27th, 2013. It wasn't the engine's fault. It was high development pressures at the end of a game cycle with a low dev budget. We decompiled the game files, we read the code, and the story of how all 4 of these ended up in the same map, and why none of them were caught before release. It's a lot more interesting than you'd expect. And as it turns out, to fix all 4 staffs is just a 2-line change with under 10 characters. First things first, how can we read any of this? Black Ops 2 game logic, every zombie, every weapon, every round is written in a language called GSC. When the game ships, those scripts are compiled into the game files. Normally they're not readable, but a community tool called GSC tool can reverse that process. Run it on the game files and you get back human readable source code. Every function, every variable, every loop, that's exactly what's running. We can look into the bugs and figure out what's causing these. One thing to note is we're looking at GSC code. This is game script code, it's not the actual engine itself. We can't access the engine logic as it's all compiled. What we're looking at is the code the developers wrote to work with the engine to make zombies happen. This is the source of most bugs, because zombies was kind of an afterthought at this time. It wasn't the forefront of the game. Lower budgets, lower dev time, less QA testing, that's the history of old zombies, and that's why there's so many bugs. For Origins, there's dedicated script files for each staff. The fire staff AoE damage, the wind staff's whirlwind mechanics, the ice staff's blizzard system, it's all there, readable, line by line. We're writing a full technical series covering the 25 bugs we found across Black Ops 2 Zombies, but the staff story deserves its own video, because the staffs aren't just broken in ways that cause crashes, some of them are broken in ways that fundamentally change what the weapon is. As I said earlier, there's a second video on the animation crash, but today, the staffs. Before we go through each staff, it's worth understanding what the staffs were supposed to be. A system. All 4 were presented as equals. Same crafting effort, same upgrade path, all 4 required for the Easter egg. 4 versions of the same category of weapon. And at a code level, 2 of the 4 are built around the same design intent. The charge shot deals damage equal to whatever the zombie's current health is, not a fixed number, their actual health value. So no matter what round you're on, a fully charged shot always kills, or at least should. the ice staff and the wind staff. You can read it directly in the source. Their kill functions pass self.health as the damage argument. Self.health is the zombie's health. Round scaling by design. The other two, fire and lightning, are both fixed damaged weapons. The fire staff's top tier deals 20,000 impact damage, and the lightning staff charge ball pulses 3,500 damage per second. Both have hard ceilings where a single shot stops being a one-shot kill, but there's a critical difference between them. The fire staff has 12 ammo shots, and the lightning staff has 18. Enough for 2 charge clips on the fire staff and 3 on the lightning staff, whereas the ice and wind staff have a single charge shot available per clip. That ammo economy combined with the burn CC stagger and the lightning staff CC means the fire staff and lightning staff can still spam their way through the mid rounds. The problem is how the bugs interact with this split, and how one of them made the ceiling invisible for 12 years. Let's start with what the high round community already knows: frozen zombies and invisible zombies, because those two phenomena share a root cause. Let's start with the big frozen rounds. The ice staff, aka the water staff, has unconditional round scaling kills. That's the design intent, and it's readable in the code as we saw earlier. The blizzard's kill path passes self.health, the actual zombie's current health, as a damage value every round. Any HP, one blizzard, everything dies. And it does work that way, until it doesn't. In the early hundreds, you notice a couple zombies don't die. They stay alive after the blizzard, but they die instantly to a couple shots or a grenade throw. Around 127, this starts happening to almost the entire horde. The blizzard hits, the freeze effects on every zombie, and the animation plays, but they're still standing, each with a sliver of health. You pick them off with a pistol, an MP40, or whatever you have. The community named this small frozen rounds, occasional single zombies surviving with near 0 HP, starting near around 112, and then big frozen rounds, the entire horde surviving. It becomes consistent from round 127 onwards. If you push Origins into the hundreds, you know these rounds. You develop habits around them. You've accepted them. The actual cause is 4 characters, plus 128. That is the entire fix. Here's what's happening under the hood. Black Ops 2's engine stores zombie health as a 32-bit integer. When the game's scripting language reads that value, it converts it to a 32-bit floating point number, a float 32, for use in a script. The conversion is where the problem lives. Float 32 has limited precision. It uses 23 bits to represent a number's significant digits below roughly 16.7 million, where health is before around 112. Every integer is exactly representable. No issue. Float 32 works like scientific notation, where it takes 1 point some number as a decimal and then multiplies that 2 raised to the n power. This is why we start to see precision loss near 16.8 million, because our bits simply can't represent that. If you want to learn more about it, we built a visualizer and linked it in the description. Above round 112, health crosses that threshold, and our float 32 is going to start its rounding. This precision step is going to double every time our health crosses a new power of 2, meaning that around 112, we have about 16.8 million health. Our float is going to round to the nearest 2, with a max error of about 1 health. On round 119/121, that's going to double up to 4, with a max error of about 3 health. 127, again, double up to 72 million, with about a max error of 7 health. The blizzard kill path calls self.health and passes it to the damage calculator, but self.health is now being read as a float 32 and compared to a big int. At round 127, a zombie with true health of 72 million and 5 is read as 72 million, rounded down to the nearest multiple of 8. So the blizzard is actually going to do 72 million damage, and the zombie is going to survive with 5 health. Because of Black Ops 2 health math, for 7 out of every 8 zombies at round 127, health is not a multiple of 8, so 7 out of 8 are going to survive the blizzard. This changes round per round based on the zombie health and the zombie math. That's why we see small frozen rounds all the way up to big frozen rounds, varying at different stages in different rounds consistently throughout the game. The hard to catch part is the code actually passes self.health. The problem is it's passing that float to the engine's damage function, and that gets rounded, just as we saw. We confirmed it with a diagnostic that scans for surviving zombies after each blizzard. At round 127, unpatched, 21 out of 24 zombies survived. The 3 that died were the ones whose health happened to exactly be divisible by 8. No rounding, no residual. With the fix, we had 0 frozen survivors at round 127, 134, 144, and so on. Clean kills at every round. The fix is self.health plus 128 in the kill function. Adding 128, itself a power of 2, which it represents exactly in float 32, means we get no additional rounding, and it guarantees that our damage is always going to exceed the zombie's true health up to the integer overflow at round 223, known as the insta-kill rounds. 4 characters, 12 years. Before moving on, the same precision error affects the wind staff too, for the same reasons. The wind staff kills zombies that reach the whirlwind center by passing self.health through the exact same kill function. Above round 112, we're going to start seeing the exact same thing we saw with the frozen zombies, but with the wind zombies, except they're going to be in a very particular state. The wind staff's charged upgrade produces one of the most visually interesting mechanics we ever saw in zombies to date. You fire a charge shot and it lands, a whirlwind forms and physically pulls nearby zombies to the center and kills them on arrival. One-shot kills regardless of rounds, same as the ice staff, because the kill uses self.health, designed to scale forever. At high rounds, Origins players know 2 things about the wind staff. The whirlwind frequently misfires, vortex forms around the wrong place, and the chain kill burst that should clear a crowd just doesn't fire. And sometimes a zombie disappears mid-whirlwind. Not dead, just gone. Still alive, still hitting you, from somewhere you can't see. 2 separate bugs, different functions, both in the same file. When the whirlwind projectile lands, a function called staff air find source runs. Its job is to find the nearest living zombie close enough to the impact point and designate it as the source zombie, the anchor the entire whirlwind forms around. When the source zombie dies, a chain kill burst radiates outwards and kills everything nearby. That's the mechanism that makes the whirlwind a crowd clearer instead of just a single target kill. The function sorts all zombies by distance from the impact, then loops through them looking for the first one that's alive and within range. When it finds the zombie at loop index I, it calls staff air zombie source with zombies 0 index in the weapon. Zombies I is the zombie the loop just validated as alive and in range. Zombie 0 is always the closest zombie, regardless of whether it's alive. This is an index error. When the closest zombie is already dead, the loop iterates. It skips index 0, skips index 1, and then finds a valid one at index 2. The problem is it passes index 0, the dead one, to the function. The whirlwind forms at the dead zombie's last known position, wherever the corpse settled, which may have nothing to do with where the shot landed. The chain kill callback is threaded on a dead entity, which fires immediately, doing nothing. The crowd clearing burst doesn't even happen, and the whirlwind pulls in a few zombies, but the central kill mechanism is then broken for the entire shot. At high rounds, this means you're wasting wind staff shots every time you shoot a zombie that's already dead. If you shoot a zombie that's alive, this will never happen, but in practicality, that's pretty hard to avoid with high round cycles and zombies spawning constantly. The fix is 1 character. A zombie 0 becomes A zombies I. Past the zombie, the loop actually validates. The invisible zombie issue is a different kind of wrong. When a zombie gets caught in a whirlwind, the game doesn't just move the zombie directly. It spawns a tiny invisible entity at the zombie's feet, call it the linker, and physically attaches the zombie to it using a link to call. The linker is moved towards the whirlwind center, and the zombie follows because it's tethered. When the zombie arrives at the center, the movement completes, the linker is deleted. But the call that actually detaches the zombie, unlink, is not made here. It's deferred to a separate function that waits for the entire whirlwind entity to die. The whirlwind doesn't die for up to 1.5 seconds. So between linker deleted and zombie unlinked, there's a window of up to 1.5 seconds where the zombie is attached to an entity that no longer exists. The engine renders a zombie's position based on its parent, in this case the link. And when that parent is gone before things are broken, the rendering system either freezes the zombie at the linker's last position, which may be anywhere, or loses the reference and drops the zombie's visual entirely. The zombie disappears from the screen. But on the server side, the zombie's still there. The hitbox, the damage processing, it's all still running. Still moving, still attacking. The zombie's invisible, and it's hitting you. These 2 bugs compound. When the wrong zombie bug causes the whirlwind to misfire, zombies take longer to reach the center. The whirlwind has a timer. If it expires while zombie is still mid-drag, the kill check, which requires the whirlwind to still be active, gets skipped. That zombie survives, still in the link to nothing state, and becomes a ghost. The first bug creates the conditions for more of the second bug, and then there's the float 32 issue from the ice staff. Above round 112, even zombies that quickly reach the whirlwind center and trigger the kill function survive with 1 to 7 HP because of the precision error and self.health. They stay in the orphaned link state, invisible, angry, and very much alive. The plus 128 fix we covered earlier also fixes this. 3 separate failure modes for invisible wind staff zombies above round 112. All fixable, all shipping together since 2013. The fix is as simple as the rest. We just add self.unlink immediately before deleting the linker. The deferred unlink call now becomes harmless. The 1.5 second orphan window just disappears. So far we've covered 2 weapons whose bugs make them worse than they should be. What they were designed to do, they failed to do at high rounds. The Fire Staff is different. The Fire Staff's bug made it better than it was designed to be. Not stronger than ice or wind, any experienced Origins player knows that. But the bug made the Fire Staff appear to be a legitimate rotation piece in the same tier. You built it, and you used it alongside the others through the 50s, 60s, and even some of the 70s. You treated it as a real weapon through the mid-game, and then you put it down because it became unreliable. That entire picture, the Fire Staff as a viable mid-game option, one-shotting things the same as the ice and wind staffs, is actually built on a bug. Without it, the entire staff would have stopped being a one-shot around 44. Instead, it'd be a CC and burn weapon. You'd have built it, used it through the mid-rounds, but instead of one-shotting things, you'd be spamming shot after shot with its healthy 12-round magazine, 2 charge shots per clip. It'd be used as a crowd control tool and a healthy damage dealer, but it wouldn't be on the same parallel as ice and wind after round 44. When you fire a charge shot, it launches a fireball. On impact, an AoE zone forms and pulses every 0.2 seconds for 5 seconds, 25 ticks total. Each tick, the game scans zombies within range. If they're not already burning, it starts a burn effect on each one. That "if they're not already burning" check is a deduplication guard. Apply the burn once and let the 8-second effect run. Don't reapply it every tick. Here's the check directly from the source. The check says if not self.onfire, then apply the flame damage. E_target is the zombie. Self is the projectile. The fireball this function was on. Fireballs don't have an is on fire flag. No code sets anywhere on a projectile. Is true self.isOnFire is permanently false. The guard never fires. Every zombie in range gets a new burn thread on every tick. 25 ticks, 25 threads per zombie per shot. The top tier staff fires 3 projectiles on a charge shot. With 24 zombies in range, roughly 1,800 threads spawn per volley. Each thread holds slots in the fixed pool for 8 seconds. That eats up part of our SC Var cap. At low rounds, a charge shot one-shots everything, so there's not really a problem. The threads terminate almost immediately when the zombie dies, and the pool clears before the next shot. No crash. At high rounds, the shot doesn't instantly kill anymore, so all the threads from that shot stay alive for as long as the zombie is still burning. So you fire another shot. You have to, the first one didn't work. Those threads on the second shot stack on top of the first batch, still running. Third shot, fourth, 3 or 4 charge shots activate simultaneously, each carrying its own set of threads, all of them overlapping at once. At round 86, we reproduce this crash on demand. 3 shots, none of them killing, the pool saturates, and the game terminates. Every time. It isn't about how fast you fire, it's about how much health the zombie has, and how many threads can stack on that health. Now, the damage side of this. Each of those 25 threads per zombie isn't just holding pool space. Each one also delivers impact damage immediately. The full upgraded staff's impact damage is 20,000, one application. That's the design. 25 applications per zombie per blast. That's 500,000 damage. That's what the Fire Staff has been dealing since 2013. Zombie health crosses 500,000, somewhere near round 74. Above that threshold, the burst can't reliably one-shot. Some of the 25 threads compete for execution in the same script, and not all of them land, meaning that the damage actually falls below 500,000. The unwritten round 70 rule that Origins players have passed down for 12 years is the exact shape of this bug's limits. One more thing worth saying here. The script variable Pool Crash, the one this bug triggers, is the same abstract error that shows up in other places across Black Ops 2 Zombies. The community is always treated as a generic, this game is unstable at high rounds thing, and it isn't. Every time you see that crash, something in the game's code, the game script code, created too many concurrent threads or other variables and held them open for too long, rather than cleaning them up. The Fire Staff does it through misdeduplication, and other maps do it differently, with the same mechanism. We'll cover this full pattern in a separate video, but this is the cleanest example of what the error actually means. A misused reference, an uncaught variable, a missing index, all small programming errors, all fixable, but they all shipped. So the question becomes why? Think about what a QA tester at Treyarch would have seen in 2013. Testing the Fire Staff around 40, 50, 60, shooting charge shots into the horde, everything's dying, weapon seems to work, deadlines, pressures, end of a game cycle. Like we said earlier, once they saw it worked, they moved on. The crash bug and the damage bug were the same bug. The same 25 threads that were filling the pool were also delivering 25 hits of damage. Fix one, fix the other. But because the damage side was making the weapon look correct in testing, there was no signal to catch. No tester who found a problem. For 12 years, every Origins player who used the Fire Staff above round 40 was relying on a crash bug to make it effective. The weapon's power and weapon's crash were inseparable, two sides of the same misplaced variable. Fix it, and we see the Fire Staff for the very first time. It stops one-shotting at round 44, but with 2 charge bursts per clip and the burn CC holding the space, it still clears hordes and is a really good corner camping weapon, all the way in the mid-rounds. That's what it was always supposed to be. The Lightning Staff is mostly bug-free. The charge shot works differently from all the rest of the staffs, and it deals 3,500 damage per second. When it exceeds the zombie's health, it does switch to use self.health to kill, so we do encounter the same error as the Ice and Wind Staff, but since it doesn't deal enough damage to kill zombies above 16.8 million health, we never encounter it. Damage-wise, once we fix the Fire Staff, it's actually very on par with the Lightning Staff. What they both do well is stun, crowd control, and area of denial. It's still useful at high rounds, but not the instant-killing powerhouses of the other 2 staffs. The ammo economy probably tells the biggest picture. Each staff has a different amount of ammo, the Wind and the Ice staffs only allowing 1 charge shot per clip, whereas the other 2 have a lot larger clips and allow multiple charge shots per clip. With 12 and 18 shots respectively, they're both great for CC spam and holding corners, allowing you to help your teammates while they use their staffs in an effective manner. The bug the Fire Staff suffered from actually hid its playstyle entirely. You're supposed to use it as a CC weapon to help your teammates, and instead it just one-shot until it didn't and then crashed your game. So you never actually got to see how good it was at its intended use. You just got to see it insta-kill until it crashed your game, and then you had to put it down. Fix the bug, and the actual weapon appears. It's not as dramatic as Ice or Wind, but it has its role. It was never supposed to compete with them, it was supposed to hold corners while they cleared everything else. Step back and take a look at what we've described. 4 weapons, the flagship feature of Origins, the reason players are excited about this DLC, and each one shipped with its own distinct bug that undermines its core function at high rounds. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you're building something complex on a tight schedule for a mode that the studio never expected players to push beyond round 100. Call of Duty Zombies in 2013 was still considered a secondary mode, and the budget reflected that. The staff system is genuinely complex engineering. 4 weapons, each with unique mechanics, upgrade paths, multiple tiers, ammo systems that work completely differently from other weapons. The team built something ambitious. And the bugs all fit the same pattern. Invisible at the testing rounds, small errors, minor typos not caught. These are the kind of things that make it into production. The staffs aren't 3 versus 1, they're 2 versus 2. Ice and Wind were designed to scale forever, Fire and Lightning were designed as fixed damage weapons with a natural round ceiling that were very good CC weapons. That's a deliberate asymmetry in the staff system, and it was entirely invisible because the Fire Staff bug was covering its own ceiling by 26 rounds. This isn't speculation about malice or incompetence, it's just what happens when 4 complex weapons get built fast, tested at normal gameplay rounds, and shipped into a game whose community was going to push them far beyond anything the developers ever imagined. The staffs are impressive. The people who built them built something genuinely interesting. The bugs aren't signs of bad work, they're signs of ambitious work done under real constraints, tested at the wrong altitude. The fix is a small patch, and we put it on GitHub. The fix is a single mod file that works only on PC currently. It gets around anti-cheat, but that doesn't mean it's competitive approved yet. Let's be clear about what fix means for each one. The Fire Staff gets its deduplication guard corrected. One variable name change, self, becomes E_target. The crash stops, and the weapon also stops one-shotting above round 44, which is also partly why it's not competitive approved. We recorded this footage without God mode. That's the patched Fire Staff, used the way it was designed to be used. Not as a round scaling damage dealer, but as a CC and suppression tool. 2 burst cycles, burn zone in front, hold the corner, it works. It's just a completely different weapon to what 12 years of bug had shown everyone. The Wind Staff gets 2 fixes. The correct zombie at index I is now passed to the whirlwind source, and the linker is properly unlinked before deletion. The whirlwind actually works the way it was designed. No misfires, no invisible zombies. The Ice Staff and Wind Staff both get plus 128 to the shared kill function. No frozen rounds, ever. What the fixes collectively reveal is something interesting about Origins as a map. In co-op mode, the Fire and Lightning staffs complement the other 2 staffs by being CC tools for the team. Ice and Wind, on the other hand, provide scaling in one shot throughout all rounds. The map plays differently, how it should, and the staff rotation finally makes sense as a system. The intuitions about the staffs, built on 12 years of playing the broken versions, are going to need updating. 4 staffs, 4 bugs, 1 map. The patch is a single mod file linked in the description. Install it once, it covers everything. You'll never see a frozen round again. the fire staff will stop one-shotting at round 44, and you'll discover what's left is actually a weapon. 12 ammo slots, sustained burn zones, a CC toolkit that holds corners while ice and wind do the scaling. Not the weapon the bug was pretending to be, but the one that was always there underneath it. And if you want to see how deep the Origins rabbit hole goes, the giant robots, the animation system bugs, the 26-hour session ceiling, and why fixing the staffs alone isn't enough to close it, that's the next video. For 12 years, the weapon's power and the weapon's crash were the same thing. You couldn't have one without the other, but now you can. And with that, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for listening. I know this was a long rant, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be diving into some more topics with Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and other games. If you enjoy this kind of thing, I ask that you subscribe, or at least leave a like or a comment. Lastly, a few thank yous to everyone else. Wonderful created a great high round history on Origins, which inspired the making of this video. Big Ben 0232 with the invisible zombie footage was a high round player back in the day. And lastly, Jay Bleezy's BO2 Reimagined helped us figure out how to reverse compile and set up our own FF patch.